So welcome to this episode of the Clyde and Lomond Heritage Podcast. Myself, Paul Murdoch.
And myself, Roy Ryan.
And we're going to do something a bit naughty today, I suppose. We've not done our homework, have we?
No, I wasn't up to studying last night, no.
We had distractions. We had a theme in mind, which was schools in the area. And the history of some of the schools in the area. So it's going to be quite shambolic, but I'll give you... It's just two guys chatting about their memories of what they've read recently. So there may be some dates we'll have to correct with the wee notes underneath at some point.
Yeah.
So schools in Scotland.
Yeah, well, I suppose you and I will be looking at it from the Vale and Helensburgh.
Yeah, kind of. I'll be looking about the Vale.
You're going to give us an overview of...
Yes.
I was very surprised that you told me that it was in the 17th century there was a law passed that all children in Scotland should have been, should have an education.
Yes.
How long did that take?
Well, 1640s, I think maybe 46. The Parliament basically said that every child in Scotland should have access to education. But it took another 125 years or so before that happened, the Vale leaving. The first two schools were built in the same year, actually, 1772. One was built, the Cameron, the Smollets.
Yes.
It's called Cameron School, and that was the west side of the Leaven, Ballachley.
And that would have been probably for those and such as those, wouldn't it?
It wasn't really a huge population at that point, certainly. And the other school was built on the other side of the Leaven to stop kids having to travel across the Leaven. And they built two schools, you see, one on one side, one on the other.
The days before bridges.
Yeah, it was. And basically the one in Jameson, kind of north of where the Jameson Primary School is still just now.
Right.
What remains of it. So there's two schools back in 1772, and eventually the Cameron one became overpopulated, basically, eventually.
Right.
And they moved and built a school in Croft Street in Bon Hill.
Okay.
So I used to live there, where the McDougall's lemonade factory used to be. Not where it used to be, but in that street. And that became, again, overpopulated, and they had to build another school, Susanna Street, I believe, which is...
right in the centre. Huh?
Right in the centre, if anyone knows where the Fountain Tavern is. That's the corner of Sanders Street and Bank Street. And then that became overpopulated, and they built the Main Street School in 1850, which is now where the leisure centre sits.
Right.
Opposite St Andrew's Parish Church, when it used to be there before it was burned down.
Yeah. Well, Helensburgh, thinking about Helensburgh, the school I remember as a wee boy as being Hermitage School, not actually Hermitage Academy. It was called Hermitage School, and it had a primary and a secondary on the same campus. And I couldn't tell you the exact year that Hermitage School was built or opened, but it would have been in the 19th century, I think, very much along the same architectural lines as the Victoria Halls, which were round the corner.
So is that where the council buildings are now, the original Hermitage School?
No.
That is the Rue Parish School, was it?
No, you're thinking of Cliff. That's Clyde Street. That was a primary school.
Well, was it?
Where the council offices are. This was on East Argyll Street. So as if you travel down from the Victoria Hall and then turn left, you're in East Argyll Street.
Okay.
So Hermitage School, the secondary school, was the first one you came to, and then Heritage Primary, which is still there, different buildings and things like that, but still on the site. Heritage Primary was there. Now, that building was demolished. The secondary school was demolished in 1966. And 1967, I should say. And the new Heritage Academy was a huge, brutalist concrete building. It opened in 1967. And I remember while I was there in 73, they built another building which was just about the same size as the building that they had. And it was an extension. And it wasn't there that long, really, in terms, because the new Hermitage Academy opened in, I think early 2000s.
Going back over the hill to the Vale history again, the Main Street school eventually it's too small as well, so they did expand it a few times. And they built Christie Parks, we call it Christie Park School now, but that was the other main school. And then the Vale Eden Academy as I knew it and I went to, was built 1962, I think.
Right.
So there's a period of time where the Christie Park School acted as the kind of Vale Legal Academy.
Right.
And then the Vale Legal Academy proper was built just beside Rent, as you come into Renton.
Mm-hmm.
And that was there right through until the new building was built again in the
Yeah.
2000s.
I've got a lot of old local books, like they used to issue a thing called the Helensburgh Directory, and it used to advertise schools. I mean, these must have been small kind of private schools.
Yeah, there were small. I mean, there's notes of a teacher operating at Drimmen Road out of his house.
Uh-huh.
And they're just good to have his own certain pupils that would come to.
Yeah.
But also you had to remember the Catholic schools history as well. Back in the 1850s, I think there's only 12 Catholic families in the Vale of Leiden.
Right.
But they still built a church. I think it was St Mark's, and I think it was North Street.
Right.
And they had a small school operating there
Uh-huh.
in temporary accommodation, and eventually they got it into a proper school.
Uh-huh. I think there was would it be around the time of the First World War, maybe just after, that there was an Education Act which Roman Catholics became entitled to their own schools. And the one here was always in Dumbarton, so the kids from Dumbarton, though there was two in Dumbarton, wasn't there? There was Notre Dame and
So perhaps, girls and boys.
and they covered the Vale, Helensburgh and Dumbarton.
What I didn't realise, you
Still do.
Yeah, I talked to my wife about that this morning, and she went to Notre Dame.
Uh-huh.
And they did, the boys sometimes went to Notre Dame for certain classes and
Aye.
vice versa.
Uh-huh.
So it wasn't completely separate. But the first Catholic school, major Catholic school, well, there was one built in North Street, I believe. And then eventually St Mary's was built in 1933. And they got a Bike Street in Alexandria,
Yeah.
the kind of grey building.
Right. So there was a Roman Catholic school in Helensburgh, but it was purely a primary school. St Mary's at Joseph, it's Stepworth. I'm saying that was. I'm thinking of the old building, which was it was in West King Street, and now they're up at the end of Havelock Street at the other side of the town.
I think my dad actually went to Christie Park, as we know it now, and it was the kind of academy.
Yeah.
And then, of course, I went to Christie Park in the 60s.
Well, that's interesting. You and I are deep rooted in the area because my father went to Hermitage School when it was still in East Gale Street. So,
It's about that bit. And then I went to Christie Park, obviously. And then, of course, we get down to the subject of punishment. The toys and the different teachers and stuff, I guess, which is interesting. The toys, we called a belt, obviously.
I'm just switching my phone off here, Paul, because it has pinged a couple of times. See?
No, we into the subject of corporal punishment, or corporal punishment, what you call it.
Yes.
But
Some people call it capital punishment. That's another thing.
that's another thing. But yes, punishment schools. I mean, the cane seated the thing we used a lot of private schools in Ulster Island as well.
Yeah.
But up here it was a belt or the toys, which was a big heavy.
Like you're talking about private schools as well, because
Yeah, we should do.
there's in Helensburgh, it was a boys and a girls private school. That was Larchfield and St Bride's, right? And then they amalgamated into a boys and girls school, and that's now Lomond School.
Okay.
And it's a very different.
Of course, you had Gill School in
Dumbarton, that's right. But the Larchfield as well has been a private school, and St Bride's, they were both. And Lomond School still is. They were boarding. They had boarders,
Yeah.
and a lot of them now are from China, and the larger,
Yeah.
a big catchment area where it has previously. Yeah. Well, previously, sometimes folk went and worked abroad, but it was usually Scots working abroad, and the children were left at the boarding school sort of thing.
Thinking of the belt again and the punishment side of things.
Hi, sorry about
No, it's okay. It's just it's crazy. I was reading some of the notes. I think in the Vale Leiden History website, which is a fantastic website. But
Oh, that's Brian Weir's side.
yeah, and I read somewhere, I can't remember the guy's name, the teacher, might be Miko. He used to punish kids by locking them in the coal bunker. Yeah, I mean, could you believe it?
Is this in your time?
No, in my time, it's just about before me or before you. But in my time, the bell was very much in the go. I mean, I only got the bell once, which is quite an amazing feat for anyone who goes through the education system in the 70s and 80s, I'll tell you.
Oh, I got it more than that.
But the first time I got it, but I mean, it was outlawed in 87. not that long ago, in 1987. 1982, two Scottish mothers went to the European Court and had the right to refuse it, and obtained the right to refuse it.
Yeah.
But in 87, especially, all that schools stopped before that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the private schools didn't have a ban that it stopped until 2000.
Right.
So they could have potentially have used punishment like that. And it feels, I don't know if they did or not. Be interested to know if anybody had deppers with that.
There's the old kind of saying, I had the belt at school and it didn't do me any harm. I can assure you it was so.
I mean, we used to get the big welds up. When I got to it once, but we didn't have the welds. I remember seeing people get it.
I think, to be honest, the technique should have been that you held your hands out and the belt was administered from the side. It was the ones that did it from the front.
They all
got it.
The opposite from the front.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that if those two women went to the Parliament in 82, they had to get it. The government mission. You say, well, but my mum preceded that by some years. And I think it'd be 1973. No, less than that. It'd be 1969 maybe or something like that. I'll get the first spell. Maybe 7 or 8.
Right.
I think I'd gone if I dropped my pencil. Thank you, Mrs. Barr. And I got the belt. I came home and my mum said, what happened to you? And I said, I got the belt. I said, oh, did you? She says, and she's raced straight along the street to sort out Mrs. Barr.
When there wasn't a fist fight involved.
I wasn't there. All I knew is that I'd never get the belt ever again, right? Apart from with the change of headmasters at one point and stuff, and I think in P7. Well, Mum did say to me, if you ever get, they'd ever say you'll get the belt again, you should come straight home. Right?
Yeah.
And this is why I'm about knocked up, basically, but I'll tell this wee story. So later on, I bounced a ball, suddenly hit a ball out of my hand in the playground as I was queuing up to win a break. And the headmaster at the time said, murder my office, which meant you're getting the bell.
Yeah.
Pretty much. So we went up the stairs in Christy Park to his office and past it. I thought, then my mum said, just come home. And down the back stairs, out the back side door, round the block and back into the house.
All right.
And then my mum's doing the iron and says, what are you doing here? And I says, well, you said if I was to get the belt again, just to come home. Did I heck? She said, got me by the collar and dragged me back to school. That's when I'm a bit mixed up and confused.
Oh, dearie.
Anyway, but she never...
It's still wearing the scars.
I was like, but Mum. Anyway, so she took me into the headmaster's office and said that I wasn't to get the belt, but I shouldn't have come home without permission. But, and the headmaster's like, right, okay, we'll no belt him, but, he can't come out of school. So
right.
It was all dusted over and I escaped, any further punishment.
I know this will come as a real shock to you, but, my main reason for getting the belt was talking. So, but there were other occasions, and one I do recall, and I was only in second year, so what age would I be? 13, probably? 13 or 14.
Well, the academy?
At the Hermitage Academy, and there was a very severe deputy rector called Jack Younger.
Right.
And he gave me 6 of the belt, and that's one of the sorest springs I've ever had. But he was a man, I don't think he was a man that was blessed with any sense of humour at all. And he was very, very...
There was certain
I think he enjoyed it.
Certain teachers who are more, let's say, enjoyed the belt, or the others if they were more liberal with it.
Well, there was others that didn't use it.
I could have lost a cricket bat. I mean, some of the gym teachers just hit you in the backside of the cricket bat.
Jeez, oh.
Embarrassing smack.
I once got at swimming.
Right.
Now we had a swimming pool in the school.
Oh, bosh.
And yes, that's right. Must have been quite posh for the day.
They have that in the Vale.
You just went to the Vale pool.
The Vale bass.
But anyway, one day, this guy, this gym teacher, and I can name him because I later became friendly with him in later life. But he was talking. Ryan, here. Over to him, right? Got me by the hair, went like that, bang, right in the back. And I had a big fat mark in my back. I mean, it wasn't that, it was Bertie. But Ian McLean was his name.
Well, we had German Georgie, I think his real name was Mr. Simpson.
German Georgie. Was that not a Ken?
He used to have yellow hair. He had white hair, he used to distance here hand all the time, and I presume he must have smoked some.
Mop,
so the yellow streak.
Uh-huh.
And he was like, he never addressed you by your name really, is either. You're either bottom boy, a second bottom boy, a top boy, or a third top girl.
Oh,
They had it all, and you get right, and you sat where you were right,
really?
depending on what results you got on your test. And I was moving up the ranks. I think it was the top, might have been like fourth top boy, and there was no well. And that was it. Boof, bottom boy, because I'd missed a test.
Wow.
You know, and they're like, what does bottom boy think of this? I answered that, you know, a bit. It was crazy. He used to be able to oh, they weren't going to be like me, but he used to be. And another great pal of mine who's no longer with us, Sam Kennedy, he's a great friend. He started the bird club and the girl leaving, and I used to go bird watching Sam, and became a real friend later in life after school. But he was quite liberal with the belts, Sam. He was being the corridors hunting for victims in the people feared Sam. But he was a great guy. And later in life we got to know him as a different side to him, you know.
Yeah. I mean, there was. I think there's. If you look across a school, there's always one teacher or a couple of teachers that have got a real reputation for the bell. And then if you look a wee bit further into it, there's always the kind of young female teacher that all the boys fancy, and the young male teacher that all the lassies fancy. I know, no. But there was one particular, an English teacher who quite like. Well, there was an English teacher in our school that we liked, and not only was she quite fetching in the looks department, she was also a very good and competent teacher, which I think even, that young guy, this guy, sort of acting a fan. Oh, no. Every boy in the school fancy.
The Joy School.
No, really. No. I think there was too many. There was quite a lot of teachers at Hermitage that I would call quirky. If you have a legal table, you've already said about the. There was there was one teacher, and I'm sure anybody who went to Hermitage will remember the one teacher who was an assistant headmaster, and if anyone was caught wearing jeans at school, he used to take them in and give them a talk. And part of that talk was that wearing denim jeans was actually gave you VD, give you a sexually transmitted disease. Now, he told this so scientific to so many people. Again, it will remain nameless, but there'll be a lot of people nodding their head at this.
So this has been quite a strange Heritage podcast. But we'd quite like you to kind of interact a bit more and give us some comment. Do you remember getting the belt at school? You remember a particular teacher, without naming names, but already.
Let's try not to name names.
Let's find out. But everybody of us, certain people that made a mark on you, more ways than one.
Yeah, that's right. And tell me this, Paul. I know about podcasts to the point of view of you and I sitting here talking, but can the viewers subscribe to our podcast?
They can if they go to YouTube's Palmer Films and subscribe to that. Then they'll get the podcast. Right, get notified when it comes on.
Okay.
But I'm hoping to kind of broaden that and maybe get our own YouTube channel. See how we go with that.
YouTube.
Yes, I cut YouTube. Anyway. I hope you've had a bit of a laugh thinking of old schools. We've got a wee bit of the history as well. And until next time, we'll maybe leave it there. So, bye from me.
Yep. Cheers. See you next time.
See you later. Bye.